You're welcome. The demolition of buildings on the right-of-way of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project has been flagged up by Minister of Works, Sir David Umahi. The demolition exercise began at the Mani Chula Beach, Oniru Waterfront on Saturday. The minister saying the compensation for workers, or owners rather, of the affected structures has been adequately factored in to the project, while urging those affected to see the greater good of the project. The demolition process is expected to continue for some days, and joining me right now to discuss this is Public Affairs Commentator Gbenga Ayannuga. Good evening to you, Gbenga. It's good to have you. Good afternoon.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Despite pleas by people and businesses who are in that area that the project will affect their businesses, the Nigerian government has continued the project and has now begun demolition structures on the path or right-of-way of the Calabar-Lagos Coastal Road. When you take a kaleidoscopic view, Gbenga, of this project, do the overall benefits, like the Minister of Works is saying, outweigh the possible drawbacks?
Well, for me, I do not want to trust whatever the government says, because I've lived a little in this country to be faced with a lot of disappointment by the government. And with those disappointments from the past, I find it really hard to trust anything the government says. Because for me, while I understand the importance of such a project like this in opening up the country more to ease of transportation and movement of goods and services across the nation, but until we have a way where citizens can prosecute those leading the government, where those people leading the government can actually go to jail after their tenure, if after demolishing people's means of livelihood, they do not complete such that led to such demolition, such that people can now begin to get the benefit back from such demolition. I do not really, you see, I am a pro-government person, but still, I understand that in Nigeria, the government lies too much. They told us when they were removing the fuel subsidy that one of the reasons why they were going ahead with the removal of the fuel subsidy is to ensure that products are available constantly. But 1 year down the line, I mean, we've had the stories of the scarcity that is happening now, where it is reported that in some parts of the country, people are buying fuel as high as 700 and as high as 2,000 naira per liter, despite the fact that the government came with promises to make our life better if we can just endure, and they turn a lot of us to pauper. There is no middle class anymore in Nigeria. And so with this project, while I see a lot of potential good that it will bring, what if they can't finish it in 4 years, like all the white elephant projects that have been undertaken? And that is why, for me, I don't know what to say until they finish this project and people start using it like it has been promised. We've been promised a whole lot of things in this country that never came to pass. We've been told that the Port Harcourt refinery will start working December last year. This is April ending, we are going into May. They are shifting the goalpost again, telling us to wait for December this year again. And a lot of other promises from government at the highest level like that, ringing in my head, will not make me trust an ounce of whatever the government says. And that is why I really feel for those who are losing their property now. Not that I don't believe that the project has a potential in booming business, in helping the country to grow. But are we like China, who will say they want to construct this project in 3 years, and in 2.5 years they would have delivered it?
Gbenga, interesting point you made. You're talking about the, the time it will take to complete this project, and if it will be a reality. We look at jobs being the value of the property there and business at a beach resort, $200 million as landmark, and all the businesses at that axis of the Oniru Beach at $200 million. We have over 80 businesses there, more than 4,000 jobs generating over 2 billion naira in annual tax revenue. As a government, will it have been wise to lose such an existing, tax source and also job creation avenue for a project that you're saying you're not sure when it's going to be completed?
There is nothing wrong in losing that kind of amount in tax revenue and jobs. Because I know if this project is completed, it will generate like ×3 of that job that they are going to lose. It is going to generate like ×3 or ×4
how do you
of
mean?
that tax revenue.
How do you mean?
Gbenga,
how do you mean?
Okay, so if you look at the area that exists, for example, if that road gets completed, a lot of freight goods that has to traverse through the east-west road will have to go through that route now, and it will be faster, more cost efficient for them, especially all these big trucks and all the rest, making the other roads freer for normal vehicle movements as it is. And in the process, a lot of value chain of businesses are going to spring up along that route. And don't forget that once they finish the land filling of the areas that they are filling, yes, it's going to cover part of the ocean, but for every problem, there are engineering solutions that will make it possible for the current owners of the beach, if they can liaise more with the government, to go and establish on the other side of the bridge. It's going to cost more, no doubt.
Olubenga, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. Look at the aerial, the drone footage that we're showing on our screen of this project. Juxtapose it with the map of the route of this road. They call it Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. We keep hearing from the landmark people, Olubenga, that the original route is on Water Corporation Drive. What we're seeing behind landmark, the road is already existing there. Now, if you look at the map, the road cuts just after the Lekki Ekpe axis. It leaves the beach and goes back inward to the inland. And it stays inland all the way to Calabar. It stays inland all the way to Calabar. And some people are pointing out, oh, look at, there's some feeling from, what do you call it again? From Eco Atlantic City. Now, do you agree with those who say this is just a decoy to expand Eco Atlantic City? Bearing in mind, the contractor of this, the contracting company of this road project is the same person who owns Eco Atlantic City. Do you agree with those who say that?
I won't disagree with them, neither will I agree with them, because there are two or in fact 3 sides to a coin, and of course to every story there are multiple sides. The reason why I won't disagree with them is the fact that the process through which the high-tech people got the job is so shrouded in a lot of inconsistencies that how many people competed with them for the job before it was awarded to them. I have no doubt in their technical ability to deliver on the job or any other thing like that. But for the fairness of the procurement process, what was that job advertised? How many people competed with them? And there is a saying in Yoruba land that Ajekila no mokuleni, tani umopajano lokomote, meaning that the witch cried yesterday, the child died in the morning. Who will not say that it is the witch that cried last night that killed the child that died this morning? So it will be unwise for people whose business are affected not to think like that. And we know all these businessmen that they have no fear of God. Totally. They don't care whose ox is God once they have their eyes set on, and especially if they have high access to the corridor of power. There is a company that is enjoying monopoly in the petrol industry, and practically the government funded the completion of the refinery that everybody is celebrating now. And if you see a lot of people whose property were lost there, you will know that once you are close with the government, and that is why I would not disagree with the people. But on the fact that there is nobody whose property is about to be lost that will not engage every means possible in terms of smear campaign, misinformation, to make those who want to take away his or her property look bad. So I would not also want to agree with the people who are giving us these excuses, because really everybody is trying to protect their source of livelihood. And in protection of your source of livelihood is like all is fair in law, in love and war. So we must be careful to, while we don't trust the government, we must not be quick to trust the narrative of those whose properties are also affected. I can spin story, you can spin story, anybody can spin story once their properties are affected.
Right.
But what we need to look at is the bigger picture of, if they finish this thing, how would we be able to surmount the challenge, initial challenge, and then have business continuity in place to ensure that whatever we lose now as a business, we can recover even from the presence of that facility near our investment. So if we look at that, then, I mean, look at many of the companies in Europe. For several years, they have been planning. They know that they are going to phase out petrol vehicles and all the rest. They have been planning on electric and alternative energy vehicles. But what do we do here in Africa? We do the blame game and
we have to pull the plug to that. But I think I like the fact that you balanced on this with your analysis, looking at both sides. The government is saying they're paying compensation. Let's hope the compensation should be adequate. And if it ends up being decoy for the Atlantic City extension, well, maybe the benefits of that will far outweigh the losses that we're seeing today. But thank you very much, Gbenga Ayannuga, for your time.
Thank you for having me.